Hey there, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be doing some investigating and some house hunting. Well, I say house hunting, I mean virtually. I'm actually going to be checking out some areas of the country that a lot of you guys have suggested. I've got a big list here, got 2 pages here of suggestions from you guys. So I've got like places and people who have suggested them. Now this is a big list. I'm not going to just stand here and read this list out because it's going to take 10 minutes of the video. But essentially, I'm going to start working my way through the list, going to check out various areas and just have a little mosey around, see what little villages or whatever they've got there, and then maybe jump on the phone a bit quickly just to see whether there are any affordable properties. Now I have had the house valued. I had an estate agent come to the house yesterday, gave me a valuation. Let's just say I'm not going to be moving from a rundown-ish estate in Swindon and then going and moving to central London. That's just not going to happen. This house is not worth a huge amount, but it is enough to get me to some places. And I have already been looking and kind of falling in love with one particular place, which I looked at in VR the other day using Google Earth and the street view in virtual reality, and it's like a little tiny fishing village up in Galloway, and I just absolutely fell in love with that place. And it's got a little tiny house for sale which I could afford if I were to sell this one, but there are too many disadvantages. It doesn't have any parking, which I need. It's a terraced house. But when you look out of the window, you're looking over this tiny little harbour with this Mediterranean blue sea colour. And I'm afraid the romanticised sort of notion of that kind of living really started to flare up, and I'm thinking, wow, that would just be amazing to live in a place like that. And in fact, I might show you in the headset. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little, I've got a Pico 4 for this. I normally use the Quest 3 headset, but it's a real pain to set up recording, whereas this, it's just got a little button on the side and you can just start recording. So I can stop and start recordings as interesting things come along, and then hopefully I can get to show you some bits. But quite how the format of all of this house hunting thing is going to go, I don't really know yet. I'm just going to kind of go for it and then see what the video turns out like and see whether that format is a working, format. So without further ado, let's jump onto VR, and then I will switch on the camera and start recording if and when anything interesting comes up. And all I'm going to do is just start working through the list. So right at the top, we've got Pembrokeshire. Camel Case just suggested that. I do want to say thank you for all these suggestions, because it's given me lots and lots of potential places to sort of go and have a look around and fall in love with. But ultimately, the goal is to have a look at these places virtually, see if any of them jump out at me and say, yes, come visit. And I'm going to make a short list of places where I can just jump into Guinevere and go off and actually physically have a look in the real world. That's the plan. Anyway, let's get on with it. That's basically Pembrokeshire. I know Pembrokeshire well, and it is on my list of places to go and check out. And one of the places that absolutely I would love to be able to get a place is, if I can find it, Newport. I've stayed in Newport before. Well, actually, I'm lying. I stayed just down the road in Nevern. But I probably couldn't afford anything in Nevern because it's all big houses there. But the little town of, where is it? I've lost it again. Not Fishguard, Newport. Newport is nice. And there are some places particularly nice. It's got a particularly busy high street with like, it's a narrow high street with you get a lot of buses and trucks going down there, so it's often quite fun trying to to drive down there. Yeah, this is the high street. You can see how narrow it is. It's like almost single track. You get big buses coming up and down here, which is always fun and games. They got a little market as well, which is nice. I think we went to it when we were here last time. We actually stayed here, and I think it's up here around the corner. Let's have a quick look. There's a car park there. So where was the market then? I'm pretty sure. Was the market in the car park, or was it indoors? Don't know. It's not letting me go in there. It's possible I don't remember that right. Maybe I just made that all up. I don't know. But there is, if you go down this road, we actually stayed in a little guest house, or a little house that we rented down here. This one, I actually stayed in this one. And I had the bedroom at the top. There's like a big balcony built into the roof. And you had some great views, especially when the tide came in. But literally straight outside the doorstep, there was a public footpath, and it took us all the way down to follow the estuary all along. Beautiful walk. Boy, I could live here definitely. And the beach is just down here. You got a big old, I think is it a yacht club or something down here? But there's a cafe and things you can. It's a sailing club, but I think you can, a cup of coffee there and everything. But yeah, you're right on the water here. And then you've got these lovely old houses right on the waterfront. But there is access to the beach just over there, the other side of the car park. But yeah, this is definitely on my, if I could get a property in Newport, it would definitely be on my bucket list to do that. Newport is a lovely little place, and the people are really friendly as well. So yeah, Newport, obviously look at properties available there, but I already know Newport, and it's definitely one of my go-tos, and the surrounding areas. Well, it's all nice, although I think Fishguard's a little bit too much going on, a little bit too busy for me. But definitely Newport. If I can live in Newport, I would be a happy bunny. But anyway, that's Pembrokeshire, which is basically this area, and that is most definitely on my revisit, because I've been there several times, but it's definitely on my visit list. And like I say, that's the west of Wales. Now, the next one is Barry's Bay in Wales. Now, I'd already had a look at that. I had to do a search for it. I did a search for Barry's Bay, and the only thing that came up was in Canada. So this was Gregory McKenna suggested Wales, Barry's Bay. The only Barry's Bay that I can think of is Barry Island. I'm presuming this is where you mean. Now, I went and had a look around Barry Island, and I'll be honest, it's too big, and I just didn't like the vibe I was getting. I didn't get a good vibe from it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't get a bad vibe from it, but I didn't get the vibe I was looking for from Barry Island. It just doesn't. My brain was just saying no. So Barry Island is probably not on my possible list. Also, Gregory recommended Kirkwall in Scotland. So let's go and have a quick look at Kirkwall in Scotland. I don't know quite where Kirkwall is, but let's have a quick scan. If I can't see it, I'll do a quick search. I've definitely got some stuttering going on. Hopefully it's not affecting the video too badly. Okay, so there's Kirkwall. Wow, that's a big place. Probably not my... Let's have a look. Let's find out exactly where in Scotland it is to start with. Oh, wow. Okay, that's where is that? The Shetland Islands? Wow, that's on a little island way off the north of Scotland. Kirkwall. Yeah, that just location alone, I'm sure it's probably a nice place, actually. I get the impression it would be. Let's just have a quick look. So it kind of looks like any other place in England, really, but obviously the northern location for it, I think it's a little too far north for me. I mean, I went to the Isle of Skye once, and it was so cold. I couldn't bear to be outside. It was just, it hurt to be outside. It was that cold. And that was in about March time, February or March. So Yeah, no, I'm not really ready to go that far north. But thank you for the suggestion. It's all good. Oh, that's the Shetland Islands. Okay, so Kirkwall is Kirkwall an island of its on its own? But yeah, I wouldn't do that far north. However, I have also looked at Galloway, the sort of Galloway and Dumfries sort of area, and I did fall in love with a little, where are we? A little fishing village called the Isle of Whithorn. Um, and there's actually a property for sale there which I could buy. And it's right here. There we go. It's this house is for sale, and I could sell my house, move here, and have a bit of change in my pocket, and that would be my view when I open my window. Apart from the ugly pole here, which is a bit of a shame, but this would be my home, and that does have massive, massive appeal to live in a place like this. And I would do Scotland to be able to open my bedroom window to this kind of view every day. Plus the fact, obviously, you've got the obvious walks nearby. Literally just stepping out of my door, I'm in a walk. I could wander around to the village around the corner there. There's a little cafe just across the harbour there. I could go and have a coffee somewhere. And let's have a quick look, see if we got any. I think we got some beaches and everything as well, or have we? No, it's all rocks. I didn't actually look, but it's all rocks, and I take it there. Oh, there we go. Got a view here. So lots of fishing then, but no paddling. But it's nice that somebody's done a photo here. Yeah, very, very rocky area by the looks of it. Don't know what that is over there. There's some people sat against it. But yeah, this caught my eye, this place. And also, I can show you another attraction with the this part of the world. This is like southeast Scotland. Sorry, southwest Scotland, Galloway. Along here as well, there's some actual houses for sale which I could certainly move here, and there's some really nice looking places to live around here, and they would be in my budget. But I would be detaching myself completely from family and friends in a major way. Although it's funny, when my sister moved to Spain, she ended up seeing more of the family after she'd moved than she did when she lived locally, because everybody goes there. They enjoy the journey there and make the trek out there, and it's kind of like a cheap holiday as well. But I could probably get a place in one of these small towns and villages up here, and it would be an absolutely picturesque place to live. It really would. And I think I could probably enjoy living in a place like this. But I don't know. What do you think? Practicalities. I mean, it's still mainland, although it's not offshore or anything like that. But it's pretty desolate up here, and of course it's Scotland, so like the temperatures are going to be pretty low in the winter. So I'm going to need a cosy dwelling for the winter. But I don't know. I think relocating to somewhere like this definitely has appeal. The whole. Or is that just a romanticized notion of living in a little fishing village? Is the reality going to be, something not as good? I don't know. Got a pub there as a hotel. Little, I don't know. This. I mean, to me, I see this and it just feels delightful. And to actually live in a place like this, I think it would be rather nice. But again, I'd have to do more homework. Maybe go rent a little place or a cottage or something, just for even just for a week, like a holiday cottage or holiday let, just to get a feel for the place. And I would do that if ever I sort of really get a list narrowed down to just a few places. I would then make a point of just getting a holiday cottage. I wouldn't live there for a long time. I'd just get a holiday cottage just for a week and then live in it with a view to assessing whether I would like to live there. Because quite often, if you get a holiday cottage or you go on holiday somewhere, you don't actually think in that type of mindset. You know, would I be happy living in a place like this? But I think if you rented a place out for a week and did it purely with a view of investigating the place with a view to living there, I think you could get an awfully good idea of whether you'd like to live there by the end of a week. But there again, I could be being very naive. I don't know. This is another place I checked out, and I think there was a house for sale up here. Again, this would be good, like a little small community, barely a couple of roads, and that's it. It's a tiny little place, but it's, I don't know. I've just look at this. I look at the colour of that water as well. It's almost Mediterranean, and I think to myself, you know what? This could be nice. This could be nice living here. I mean, compared to where I live now, put it that way. And the thing is, to live in a place like this, I could probably easily get a little terraced bungalow. That would be easy, and I'd have a reasonable amount of change in my pocket as well. But then, would I be able to, have a workshop? I mean, these all seem to have gardens, so I could have a workshop in my garden, I guess. But I really want to be able to ideally park Gwen outside or park my van outside, but also be able to do van builds and things. Is that a sunken ship I'm looking at there? Is that a derelict ship? And if so, are there any pictures? See if there's anyone's done a 360 on the peninsula thing here. Let's have a look. No. Ah, yes, there it is. That's like a derelict hull of a ship, and clearly I'm going to assume that's derelict, that industrial place there. Not sure what it is, but it's all fenced off. There's probably a story behind this, but I could live in a place like this, assuming the weather wouldn't kill me off. I'd have to toughen up a bit. Because, like I say, it's probably beautiful in the summer, but in the winter, obviously, you're going to get a lot of snow. But actually, one of the reasons I was looking at the Galloway area is it's on exactly the same latitude as the Isle of Man. Now, the Isle of Man, as far as I'm aware, has considerably better weather than we get on, say, like the east side of the country. Again, I may be wrong on that, but I believe we got the Gulf Stream has got this whole thing going on. And I know when I stayed on the Isle of Iona, which is one of these outer islands on the sort of the Inner Hebrides here, I think it was February or March time, and we were walking around in t-shirts and shorts, and also all the water, it kind of had this almost like Mediterranean turquoise blue. And the sands were very, very white. It was absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, this little fishing village that I was looking at, and that other one here, they're right on the same sort of longitude, I think, isn't it? The uppy downy ones. So as the Isle of Man. So, and also I saw, was it Drumore? That was what we were looking at with the derelict ship and everything. There were some cottages along here. There's this little road that I thought, yes, I could absolutely live here. Let me just go here. There is some Google Earth footage here. I'd imagine a cottage like this would probably be above my pay grade, but just knowing this beach is here, I mean, this would be a great walk if I lived in the town a little bit further away. But there are some smaller cottages as well. Although I would guess it's very rare for these things to come up for sale because there's just a handful of them. And I would imagine they would be snapped up almost immediately. Because, I mean, talk about location. There's even palm trees here, which kind of, again, gives me the idea that the weather in this area would be considerably better than many other parts of the UK. I mean, you can look how beautiful this is, and to live here would just, I don't know, it has a lot of appeal, even though it's really, really, really far away from where I live now. I'll show you a little comparison. Oh, there's a little boat there. I'll show you a comparison. So we're talking about this little area here, which is like this, looks like the most southwestern tip of Scotland. And I'm currently all the way down here. So we're talking past Birmingham, past Manchester's not even halfway. Well, I suppose it is just about halfway. And then up past I think this is the Lake District and everything here, is it? Yeah, Lake District. So it's past the Lake District and turn left, and then just keep going all the way down to here. Port Logan was another one I looked at, and that was just, again, it was just this, like a single row of cottages, and that was it. And that, again, would be, I think, an amazing place to live. Although, I think, in practical terms, I'm not sure it's, I mean, literally you've got a beach on your doorstep, so that's the walk sorted out. But you're looking at, I'm not sure there's much in the way of parking. I don't think these cottages have got, they've got back gardens, but there's no back garden access. So, and I'm thinking in bad weather, if this is the only place I've got to park, I think, oh, hang on, where are we? If this is the only place I can park, I'm thinking in bad weather, I'm going to step out of my cottage one morning, and Guinevere will just be this little pile of rusty dust on the road, because it's going to get sandblasted with the salty sea. Like I say, the romanticized notion of living in a place like this is just phenomenal. Yes, please. But the practicality of it, I don't know. I think there are many things I'm not taking into consideration. But I honestly, I was looking at these areas the other day thinking, oh, yes, I just take my money and just let me live here. But I do need to be a little bit more practical minded about these things, I think. But there's definitely appeal for staying in a little tiny sort of cluster of houses on one of these coastal areas. This is Port Patrick, and I'm not sure, maybe it's a little bit built up, although there's practically like a few streets and that's it. But oh yeah, we've been here before, haven't we? But Port Patrick, I don't know, I think I could also again be tempted to spend the rest of my life in a little place like this. I mean, especially compared to living on a declining estate in Swindon, declining housing estate, this is paradise by comparison. And were I to sell up here, I could move here. Every time I look at these sorts of images, I'm thinking, what on earth am I still doing here? Because my job is all based on the internet, it means I can live anywhere that I want. I mean, I also haven't ruled out the possibility of just getting in Guinevere and driving to France and setting up shop there somewhere. But it's massively complicated now since Brexit. You can only go over there for 3 months and then you've got to come back again. But I believe there are ways around it, but there's a lot of hoops to jump through. So staying mainland Britain or Scotland or UK does at the moment seem to hold most appeal. But anyway, that's the Galloway area. Absolutely love it, beautiful, and could seriously be tempted by some sort of property near the coast, and it's feasible, it's doable. So that is that's good. But I mentioned this to a friend of mine actually. This area, the Galloway area, it does seem to be in my head the benchmark. It looks like such a beautiful place to live. Obviously, you know, I don't know. I'd have to look a lot further into it. But what it has done, it's kind of set the benchmark. So I'm going to be comparing everything else I look at to this area to see whether anything else I look at is better. Right then, just got a few minutes before I've got to turn this steak over. It's the next day, and I spent a good chunk of yesterday trying to make a video based in VR where I'm checking out some of the places on these suggestions, and it just wasn't working. It was a very, very clunky way to make a video, and it just wasn't gelling. It wasn't the kind of video I was looking to make. But what I'm basically doing is probably going to take me a week or two to get through this list. That is an awful lot of suggestions, which I'm very, very grateful for, but there's an awful lot of places and an awful lot of miles to cover. So what I've been doing since then, I've had a little go today, and I should be having another go this evening, and then probably for the next however many days it takes, I'm just going to be working my way through the list, visiting general areas, and then all I've got to do is determine the kind of feel I get for the area. I'm just going to say yes or no, and then anything that I say yes to, I will then go away, do some more homework, make sure that there are properties in that area, you know, are within my price range. And if I get a double yes, so yes, I like the vibe the area is giving me, and B, yes, there are properties there that are within my price range, then they will make the shortlist for a potential visit. And I think that's the best way I can go about doing this. So it's not going to be particularly interesting in the format of a video, but once I've nailed everything down to a shortlist, then hopefully things are going to start getting a little bit more interesting. But that's where we're at the moment on this quest. I'm still totally like switched onto this quest. It hasn't dulled. It's kind of settled, but it hasn't dulled, you know. And there's still very much an excitement going on there. In fact, what I might do is, once I get locations with a double yes, you know, yes, I can afford a house there, and yes, I get a good vibe from the place, I may then attempt again to just jump in VR and just go to those very few places and do a little bit of a virtual tour of those before we jump in the van and then actually head off to these places. That's the plan. That's the thinking I've got going on. Hopefully it'll turn out the way I want it to, but we'll see. But at the moment it's all looking good. I'm still very much on track to make this a potential reality this year, but at the moment it's just a case of watch this space, and hopefully some interesting videos are going to be forthcoming quite soon. So that is it for this video. Just a little sort of progress report, little catch up. But thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Also, thanks for all of the great suggestions for locations. But yeah, I will let you know how things go. So until next time, thanks for watching and take care.